Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. Genuinely do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News! Of course, Chelsea News is the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea from the world of social football news media, giving you my opinion on it, more importantly, asking for yours in what is an excellent football therapy community which we have cultivated over the years, down in the comments section. Pochettino has spoken. Gusto and Nkunku are back in full training and available for the squad to play against Liverpool tomorrow. Even Jackson could feature, who of course is coming back from AFCON. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Chelsea have rejected a formal approach for their striker, Armando Broja. And of course I've made a lineup and we're going to talk about the big game in Jurgen Klopp's farewell tour. Yes, like you, I'm frustrated that he's come out and done this, I'm leaving Liverpool, and then suddenly they're just going to go and batter every team and do it for the gaffer. Why can't you just keep your mouth shut to the end of the season, mate? We've got a final to play against you soon. Anyway, strap yourselves in. I do want to thank you all for joining me here on the channel today. I am pushing 180,000 subscribers, which of course is an incredible milestone. If you want to help me surpass said milestone, please do consider subscribing to this channel, Football Therapy. You might dig it, catching up with the world of Chelsea Football Club. If you choose to subscribe, hit the bell notifications icon. If you want to be nice, drop a like on the video. Alright mate, let's get into it. Let's start off with a quick word on Nico Jackson. Of course he's returning from AFCON after Senegal have bowed out of the competition. Jackson didn't really feature so much for Senegal. He was a bench player. He really sort of was out of rotation. Remember, this kid is still a young footballer. He's like, what, 22 years old or something? And it's not a major shock that he's not starting for Senegal. It's probably more of a major shock that he starts for Chelsea. And that's not like a derogatory comment towards Nico Jackson. It's just a sign of the times how we've got some things wrong and how we don't have this sort of elite senior attacker to lean on. Of course, that's been a recurring theme throughout Chelsea news of late. The summer, probably going to buy a big money striker. But for the moment, we have actually missed Nico Jackson. And the fact how Pochettino was like, yeah, he could even feature tomorrow. Personally, I don't think he'll start. I think he'll come on in for 20 minutes towards the end. But if he does start, if Nico Jackson starts away at Liverpool, that would show you, one, how much in the trenches we are in terms of him travelling back, going straight into the team. Two, how much Pochettino does trust Armando Broja now, / maybe he's going to still be sold, so you take him out of the lineup and protect him, because that's what usually you do in a transfer window. You don't play a player that might go, because, you don't risk injury. It's pointless for everyone. But I do think we have missed Nico Jackson. I think Chelsea fans have all agreed in his absence. And by the way, in his absence, we've done largely okay, but I think generally in terms of how we play, we've all thought, okay, he might not be good enough to be starting for Chelsea in the long term, or maybe he shouldn't be starting for Chelsea right now. But we understand where we are as a team, both developmentally and just a general decline over recent years. So yes, he is an asset that's better starting than not starting. Positive news indeed. Let me know your thoughts on Nico down in the comment section below. Let's move on to the next segment. And that is returning players. Malo Gusto and Christopher Nkunku listed on the Chelsea website as both in full training. And Pochettino himself in his pre-match press conference said, yes, they will probably feature in the squad for Liverpool. Now, will they start? I'm not so sure. Certainly not Christopher Nkunku. Though it would be nice to see Nkunku do something at Anfield, to dunk on Liverpool, to ruin the Jurgen Klopp party. Done it before, I've said it 1,000 times, heck, I'm going to say it again, mate. It just feels like we haven't seen this guy. We saw him in pre-season, he looks pretty good. We saw him score a goal in a game that we lost off the bench, and it looked exciting. Do you know what it reminded me of a little bit? Do you remember when we signed Alvaro Morata, and he made his debut off the bench? I believe, I might be wrong, in a game against Burnley, where we had 2 players sent off. It was Sean Dyche's Burnley, and I know Fabregas was sent off, and he was the second player. I have a feeling maybe Gary Cahill as well. I can't remember the first player that was sent off. And we went down to 9 men. And we were like 1 or 2 goals down against Burnley at 9 men. Something like that. Or certainly we were behind. Alvaro Morata comes off the bench to make his debut and immediately scores with a header and grabs the ball. It was kind of like that. Like you hadn't seen him yet and he'd done something. Although Nkunku was way into the season. Anyway, story time over. It would be such a massive boost for Chelsea fans, and a really sobering reminder to the rest of the world of football how good Nkunku is. And Chelsea, we are kind of trending in the positive direction at the moment. If he comes in, off the bench probably, and influences the game against Liverpool at Anfield, that would be like, oh yeah, Chelsea are doing better lately. And they do have Christopher Nkunku. We've all sort of forgot about this. Oh dear. And for Chelsea fans, of course, it's lifting, it's encouraging, and we can feel positive. In terms of Malo Nkunku coming back, massive. And no disrespect to Disassi, who's done alright at right back. Yeah, man, it's just massive, isn't it? To have two good fullbacks playing in the fullbacks positions, starting Chilwell and Gusto. That would just make everyone feel so much better. Of course, it's not the, dynamic duo of Chilwell and James, but Gusto, of course, has made most of us feel much, much comfortable in James's absence. He's such an exciting, young, dynamic fullback. Dude is still, 20 years old, I think? Possibly 21 at a stretch. He's got so much developmental work to do as well, and he's already great, and he hasn't been in the Premier League for long. He looks totally fine. Very, very exciting indeed. Positive news to have all these players back. Very shortly, I'm going to show you the lineup that I've made to play against Liverpool, but first, I do want to talk about this transfer story coming from Super Guru Fabrizio Romano. Let's take a look at what he's saying. Understand Chelsea have rejected a formal approach from Wolves for Armando Broja. Wolves have asked for Broja on loan, but Chelsea have no intention to proceed at the current conditions. Now, yeah, man, Broja has got loads and loads of admirers. Wolves, Palace, Aston Villa, West Ham, other clubs as well, clubs in Italy, Serie A. I think there's more Premier League clubs as well that I've missed there. Despite his really poor form, like 2 goals in 19 games this season, I think teams are looking at him in a more general sense and seeing he's a, high ceiling striker that's a homegrown player in the UK in the Premier League, and yeah, he's a valuable, sellable asset. We know the story. Chelsea wanted £50 million apparently, so saith Matt Law of The Telegraph early doors. That fee is apparently gone down to around £35 million, and maybe Chelsea would agree with a loan with an obligation or option to buy. Now, what Fabrizio Romano is saying here to me infers that Wolves have offered to loan, but perhaps no option or anything to buy, and maybe the loan fee is low. Dude, I am kind of worried we're going to be left short of a striker, but at the same time, we've all watched Broja play recently. His head's dropped, he needs time, maybe the stories are getting to him. Look, quite rightly, Pochettino's been saying, look, mate, if you want to play for Chelsea Football Club, do you know what I mean? Like, the biggest club in London, the best European pedigree in London, a huge global brand, Chelsea. You got to take this stuff on the chin, mate. You got to put on your big boy pants. You're going to have criticism, you're going to have transfer speculation, but you're also going to have glory and become a millionaire. So every cloud, bro. I do think, now Nico's back, Pochettino's already talking about putting him in the squad, even though he's just getting back. Nico's back, and Nkunku's back. We've seen Cole Palmer false 9. I don't really like him there. I feel like he gets inside his own head and starts missing chances. Certainly the 2 starts we've seen false 9. I don't really like it, but we'll talk more about that in just a moment. I think all things considered, Chelsea would have to do some real, dramatic final hour transfer work to bring a striker in, and maybe they will. Maybe there is conversations with Callum Wilson with Newcastle saying that we'll give you 18 million quid if we get a favourable deal with Broja going out to, I don't know, a West Ham or Wolves or a Villa or something. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that will happen, but I do think, upon sobering reflection, upon meditation, that look, there's a great project over at Wolves at the moment. Gary O'Neill's doing excellent work. He's a great coach. I think, yeah, go ball out with Wolves with Pedro Neto and the other guys. There's good players at Wolves, right? So it's a good team. There's a couple of superstars in there. If he can be the starting striker there for 6 months, just go and do it. Go and do it. What if he does really well? Bring him back and use him. If he doesn't sell him for a lot of money, pure profit. Yes, there are those words again. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. But yeah, Fabrizio Romano said it. Big, real transfer story there. Anyway, let's move on and let's look at the lineup that I've built to hopefully hopefully defeat Liverpool in their own backyard at Anfield. Here we go! As you can see, it's the 4-3-3. I know some people say 4-2-3-1, but the heat maps say 4-3-3. So of course, Georgi Petrovic will remain in goal, despite Rob Sanchez slowly coming back from injury. I think we've managed Chilwell very well, and I think he will start at left back, and this will be an absolute must and massive opportunity to basically play against a high line at Anfield and also have a dynamic recovery pace in Chilwell. I do expect him to come off at around 65-70 minutes, but I do think it's massive that he starts this game. We of course know that Levi Colwill has a little injury and won't be in the squad, so Chilwell starts at left back, which means I think Silva and Disasi will continue their centre-back partnership in the middle. I can't see Badiashile playing here. Maybe he'll come on at left back or something if we need to defend the lead later, but I see those two starting. And Gusto is back training. I'm going to risk it and put him in straight from the start. Now, there could be a suggestion that both he and Nkunku would just feature off the bench, and if that's so, maybe Alfie Gilchrist will play at right back and Gusto will come on for him. But actually, I'm going to go the same way as Chilwell. I'm going to start Gusto and then bring on Gilchrist towards the end of the game. Hopefully, we've got something to protect, or move Disasi out wide and bring in Badiashile in the centre-back positions. Not much to talk about with the midfield three. Caicedo looking better and better and better. And of course, this is a massive opportunity for him to prove to Liverpool that yes, he would have been worth that £111 million bid that they had accepted from Brighton for their midfielder. Of course, Chelsea getting him in the end. So it'll be really interesting to see Caicedo hopefully put in a good performance here. And of course, he'll be flanked by both Fernandes and Conor Gallagher as industrious number 8. Now, the front three is an interesting talking point. I think the most easiest is Sterling will play at left wing, though Mudryk in theory would be the profile to play quite well in this game, as he could run in the space behind the Liverpool defence that Klopp will leave vacant and vulnerable. But Mudryk has been out of form and I don't think we would start him. Maybe he'll come off the bench. I actually see Cole Palmer playing as a false 9 again, which won't suit me. Although he plays generally well there, he seemingly just loses his finishing touch when he plays there. In his 2 starts that he's played as a false 9, I don't quite like it. But it does mean Noni Madueke can start on the right. And of course, off the bench, we can see Breuer maybe come on for Madueke, which will move Palmer onto the right wing, where I think he does his best work. So that completes my lineup. In terms of substitute appearances, like I said, I think probably we could see Gilchrist come on and maybe, Gusto come off. We could possibly see Badiashile move over to left back to, rest Ben Chilwell. Midfielders, I'm not so sure. I think the midfielders can see out the 90. They should all be fit and raring to go, hopefully. And the front three is an interesting one. Unlike Liverpool, who just have loads of settled attackers that seem to function well and do bits and create loads of chances for Liverpool, we're not quite there. Our one consistent attacker is, of course, the superstar Cole Palmer. If we don't see Breuer starting, which I suspect we won't, it could be for a couple of reasons. Form's not great, and of course, maybe a transfer is still to be done tomorrow on deadline day. So if that indeed does happen, then he won't feature in the squad. And of course, that's maybe why Nico Jackson is being rushed back and put on the bench after AFCON. So maybe he either starts, which again would kind of just show you exactly where we are. To be fair to him, he hasn't really been played for Senegal much, so he's not going to be red zoning, but it's the sort of travel and the lack of preparation and fitness with the Chelsea team. So I do suspect to see Cole Palmer start as a false 9 by himself, and then probably Jackson come off the bench for him. And then, in terms of wide attackers, Mudryk can come on for the left, try and capitalise on some space, maybe running in behind towards the end. Remember, I think he had his debut against Liverpool, looked really good, but a lot's happened since then. Look, I will die on the hill that there is a player in Mudryk. It's just going to be difficult to get him out and settled. But Noni Madueke, I reckon, Sterling will feature, and we'll see probably all substitutions used by Maurizio Pochettino. Now, the last 1,000 times we've played Liverpool, we've drawn. Always a draw, 0-0, 1-1, 0-0, 1-1, penalties. I reckon it's going to be a really even game. Again, to reiterate what I said at the top of the video, it's really unfortunate for us that we now have to face the Jurgen Klopp farewell tour. Not just in this game, but of course in the League Cup final as well. But we can beat them, Norwich dunked a couple on them. There's space to be exploited. I think we can do it. And make no bones about it, ladies and gentlemen, if we get a win here, this will be a conversation piece. This will be like very much that, okay, now Chelsea have turned the corner, you know. They slapped up Middlesbrough like they should have done, 6-1, you know, that's a bit more like it, because as Liam Twomey of The Athletic appropriately said, Chelsea often raise their level to opponents, but also lower their level to opponents. So to actually say, no, we're just going to put 6 past the Championship side, much better. But yeah, to you know, take points at Anfield, to beat them would be massive. And I've just got a feeling, you know, so why not be positive? I'm going to say 2-1, and I'm going to say a Christopher Nkunku goal off the bench. Possibly a winner, maybe an equaliser, and then we go on to win. But yeah, I feel like getting to see Nkunku and Palmer, you know, link up and do bits at Anfield will feel really, really good indeed. Anyway, let me know what you think. Comment down below. Tell me your lineups. Tell me your score predictions. Tell me your reaction to the news stories that I've spoken about today. Like I said before, if you want to support the content and let me know you like it, you can do that just simply by liking the video. And why not subscribe? And let's get over 180,000k. Road to 200. Alright then. Cheers, guys. Peace.